Hello, everyone. Hope everybody is okay with a new week. Thank you so much for watching this video. So we will be going to reading another passages, another presentation. I will be sharing. So this week we have the cognitive development theory learning, which is theory 5, and also the cognitive development of learning theory, right? So in this week, we have the cognitive learning of theory. So the key concept in this is the Piaget theory of cognitive development. Piaget or Jean Piaget, who was a person who was living in 1896 until 1980s. And he was a Swiss-born psychologist and a logician. He was working as a professor at the University of Geneva. So he proposed a theory. The Piaget received his PhD in natural science, and also he continued his work as a child psychology. And throughout his work, he proposed a theory. As Piaget watched his 3 children grow up, and he discovered that the children are thinking very different from the adults. And also, in addition, these children or children development or cognitive development consist interactions between organisms and their environment. As we have been speaking about the environment and also the children, how they were working, and also in the previous slides, the previous presentations, we also pointed to those points. And it is an adoption process. Yeah, this is an adoption process that it is suggested that there are 4 qualitatively different stages. So we will be describing every one. The basic concept of cognitive development theory. So according to Piaget theory, the human intellectual ability, that is individual ability to effectively adopt to the given environment or an environment where the children are living. It is intellectual interactions, right? It means that therefore understanding the cognitive development means the human intellectual ability is to know the process and changes as the aspect of change, which means when a child is living in how is he or she interacting with the environment and how they deal with the environment, they have this, and he has proposed this theory. And every person and every child is thinking differently from what an adult is thinking. So schematically, and also the scheme or schema, according to the Piaget theory, the humans are born with with only a few reflexes functions, just like other animals. And based on this reflex, just as an organism, it changes its body structure and to adopt the environment. And also humans also constantly are reconstructing their cognitive structure through active interaction with the environment. And this is exactly what's happening. So the children, when they are born and they are interacting with the environment and they are changing their ideas and how they are adopting the environment, and also they are growing. And the cognitive structure throughout the active interaction with the environment, and also the schematic refers to the illustration, outlines and forms. So in general, it refers to a framework that organizes and also synthesizes, systematizes the content scientifically according to the certain format. For example, so there are some examples which are mentioned. So one of the examples are here. So the babies refine their sucking reflex by sucking on the pacifier of the different shapes and also sizes. It also integrates with the gripping reflex and also sucking reflex by bringing an object which that when a child touches the hand to the mouth and performing a sucking action. And also Piaget cell, the Piaget cell, no, the Piaget call the new sensory motor apparatus, which is obtained in the integrating reflex functions as the schema. So there's a schema that you may have in your notes, so you can look at that. And also, and in general, the cognitive development of infants by 2 years of age is a process of elaboration. And also the sensory motor scheme, which is a representation, is formed around the age of 2 years. And also when the cognitive structure is developed based on this, the internal thinking becomes possible. Assimilation and accommodation. So now, what is assimilation and accommodation? Assimilation is the acceptance of extraterrestrial object into one's own scheme or cognitive structures. And also a cognitive structure is a cognitive process. For example, a child with a schematic of holding an object will learn to grab an object that touches the process of floating an object, and also the water, like the water by child who has a cognitive structure that the object floats. When the object is floating on water, it belongs to the fairy tales. According to the Piaget theory, accommodation on the moment of an existing scheme or structure into the new object. So when there is an object floating on the water, it belongs to it belongs to their own idea. Whenever they are thinking about the children are thinking a little bit different from what the adults are thinking, and it refers to a cognitive process of changing an existing scheme or structure to fit a new object when it's not suitable for the transformation. For example, when an infant is unable to grasp an object and it's too large to hold adjustment or which are occurring when a God's gripping method with appropriately changed so that he could or should grip the object. Now, talking about the equilibration, right? The equilibration. It means that in adversarial process, accommodation is a cognitive conflict due to inadequacy of existence cognitive structure. When this is included in the equilibrium, state is broken. The state is broken by it, and it occurs when the series of the processes in which the equilibrium is performed to obtain the equilibrium state again. Now, speaking about organization, action and thoughts do not remain separate, but combine and range and reorganize into a coherent system. They are combined, rearranged, and grouped into related systems in behavior thoughts. Organizations combine actions and thoughts to form higher level units. Piaget's stage units, and also he categorized, right? So these stages of cognitive developments are features, and each process is a fixed order. In a high stage or a more complex it becomes. In the second stage of cognitive development and characteristic of each stage is to form, for example, the the form from 2 years to 7 years of age. And also the language development rapidly, and the ability to think symbolically increases. Since logical manipulation is not possible, it is called pre-operational stage. The concrete operational stage is the period from 7 years to 12 years old. And also, as a characteristic of concrete operational stage thinking, it is possible to acquire in the concept of conservation and to make a nomadic in rank order. And formal operational stage. This is number 4. Adolescents who are over 12 years old. Characteristics of formal operational stage. When faced a new situation, it is possible to use not only to present the experience, but also to the past experiences and predict the future. Adolescents in the formal operation stage deal with the problems of transcending time, which are capable of systematic scientific thinking and the ability of the plan and systematically testing the solution. It is the abstract thinking to solve the problem. So in this stage, the children, when they are going over 12 years, they are acquiring new ideas and they are learning how to think scientifically, which there is an improvement in their thinking. And also they are able to understand the abstract concept and ideal thinking is possible. The development and learning theory. The first characteristics is the learning theory. By modifying human behavior and psychological problems and pathologies, syndromes, and also addictions can be corrected. It is the theory that the concept of a people of learning, right? Human beings are creatures that respond to stimuli, and learning is a relatively continuous change in the individual's knowledge and behavior through experience practice. So in this concept, whenever we are reading about the learning characteristics, first of all, we have to understand that the human beings, they are responsible, they are naturally responding to a stimuli. When there is a stimulus, and the human beings, they are responding or they are showing their own reaction to the stimuli. For example, if there is a big voice, a human being is reacting to that as avoiding that noise or finding a solution, what that noise happened from, what was the reason, and to understand what was the reason. If that is an unpleasant voice, they're trying to make it sure that this is not a dangerous, which is causing a danger for the human being. And the reinforcement of the appropriate stimuli and their responses to induce a desired change in human behavior. Learning theory, learned from behaviorism, emphasizes environmental factors rather than biological factors. Emphasizes on the experiences that the humans acquire during life are source of the changes in human development. Learning theorists emphasizes that human development can be changed according to its intended plan, and emphasizes is the place of the continuous process in development without setting and developmental stages. This is a scheme that you can see. This is the learning theorists and theories that the classical conditions of the Ivan P. Fowler. So before conditioning, first is unconditional stimulus and also unconditional response. The second situation is conditioning process, conditional stimulus, and also unconditional response. After that, there is a conditional stimulus and conditional response. And according to classical condition theory, the behavior according to the modified by repetitive learning at all. So first of all, unconditional stimulus, unconditional response. So this the stimulus changes in the second situation. It becomes the conditional stimulus, but unconditional response. And also now the conditional response, the conditional stimulus remain the same, but response changes. That's how they're differently working. So Watson's classical conditioning. So the founder of behaviorism, who expressed his thoughts as a silent language, he suffered hardship, and when he said that given the right environment, you can raise any child, thus a genetic aspect was neglected. The genetic aspect is neglected by using the Fowler classical conditioning process or procedure. Emotions, which is a reactive human behavior, was learned, and also the teaching fear to an emotionally stable 11th month or 9-month-old baby roaring with a rabbit by repeating the experiences of fear with a rabbit. And a baby learned a fear of a rabbit. It was revealed that emotional response of the humans can be learned in large extents by classical conditions. The main factors affecting the child development are parenting, environmental stimulations as well. So both of them, they have key stimulations there, key role. And also, so Skinner's operant conditioning. So Skinner started a study by operant conditioning using mice and pigeons, focused on revealing the causal relationship between human behavior and environmental. So this is the Skinner box, and the Skinner considered behavior to be sandwiched between the two environmental influences, i.e. antecedent stimuli and also subsequent factors, i.e. consequences. So with the consequences. And he believed that the target behavior can be manipulated through outcomes. And also Skinner recognized that human beings as active beings and studied human behavior through arbitrarily manipulating actions. He suffered hardship, and when he said, given the right environment, you can raise up any child in this kind of situation, like built and meet and emphasizes that can be raised. So most human behavior is motivated by external stimuli rather than internal impulses. In all human behavior is predictable and controllable, and anything that cannot be empirically demonstrated is of no value. Number 4, cognitive social learning theory of Albert Bandura. Albert Bandura. In 1960s, he published a social learning theory, which combined the observational learning with the classical conditions and also the operant processes. The observational learning is a learning theory that people are learned about the world through the direct and indirect experiences. He believed that the human beings are not only affected by the environment, but it can also be affected by its social ways, right? Which is called the social interactions. And the learning theory, because it carried out in every social situation while supplementing and not revising the social learning theory, and not only the behavior environment, but individual interactions and the cognitive and the cognition are really important too. It found to be critical factor named cognitive social learning theory. So this was key point and emphasizes the importance of social environment in the children's cognitive ability in learning and also in development. Maslow's hierarchy of need. And also Abraham Maslow, who was a person, he was living from 1908 to 1970. Abraham Maslow, who was in New York, and he was a psychologist, a philosopher, and he grew up in a poor Jewish family. And he grew up as an ableist, 7 children with a permissive parent, and also psychology at the University of Wisconsin. And he majored in science. And he received his master's degree and doctoral degree. Maslow studied under Thorndike, who was a professor, and he was influenced by Adler, existentialism, and also the Gestalt psychology, or the Gestalt psychology. Maslow was interested in motivation and also the process of moving toward a goal. And he said, this goal is a need that all human beings pursue regardless of culture and environment or the generations. And the hierarchy of need continues the human view of basic, so the human view and also the basic view. So humanistic theory is said to be a third force compared to the psychoanalytic theory and behaviorism theory. And he has more optimistic view of human nature. And the Maslow is heavily influenced by the existentialist philosophy. Human view continues. If human beings are perceived as the unified whole, and also basically good and creative human beings, the environmental conditions are suitable. And human beings are seen as beings who realize their potential, their capacity, right? And focus only on the positive aspect and also the human experience. So now we are going to pay attention to how people have achieved outstanding achievement in their lives and also succeeded in the areas whereas they have failed. So basic perspective. So this was also, as we said before, the Abraham Maslow, as we said before, and he was working there. And this is the repeating point that we have to pay attention as a summary of the lesson. So the main concepts, which is the desire or basic needs such as food, water, comfortable temperature, and also social, physical safety, affection, and also respect. Then going further to growth, and also this is the need, and also the desire to show the potential and skills and talent. You can see in the chart. So this is a chart for the basic needs. And self-actualization. What is self-actualization? Now we want to learn that a person who achieves self-actualization is a person who is in the process of becoming integrated and perfected as a person. Maslow has the potential for self-actualization in everyone and the capacity to become in the future. Roger, anthropocentric theory. Now, whenever we are speaking about the Roger anthropocentric theory, so who was this person and what he proposed? Carl Rogers, and he was living from 1900 to 1987. He was born in Chicago, and he was a psychologist, a human beings are viewed as an organism functioning as an organized whole. And also, the organism is a full functioning person means the optimal psychological adoption and the optimal psychology performance. A person is who will behaved and also the completely open to experience, and who is fully aware of his or her self, and also having a lot of the counseling in the field of the child abuse. The person who knows how to solve the problem is the client. The person who knows how to solve the problem is the client. And it is the treatment itself, not the therapist, leaving the direction for the treatment to the client. So recognized that it is a personal task, that he also emphasized that the person-centered therapy is not a problem solving, but rather in individual development and more complete response throughout the life. This humanistic theory continues, and also Roger viewed a view of humanity and also the basic view. So how did he view? And he was saying that the human beings are the social and future oriented beings that have a will for self-realization, and also they have the good heart. Another person who was Lee Yon Rim in 2008 have a positive and optimistic view of the human beings because the client's self-actualization or actualizing motivation was thought to lead the client well and key. It respects the client ability to discover the solution on their own as long as the human condition is met. Roger's position was that there is no need to develop deeply into the client's unconsciousness, and also the interpretation in the dream analysis are risky, that I hate the manipulation of Diku. And pay close attention to forming an honest relation with the client, and also emphasize the importance of subjective experience. The person-centered therapy, client-centered therapy, and the therapist function helping the clients to explore and to discover their own resources is looking at the existence. So the main concept or self-actualization tendency, how the human beings are viewed as an organism, functioning as an organized whole, and also the organism that they have a basic tendency to exist and maintain and to improve their side, to strive for it. And Rogers believed that all human beings have the tendency to actualization, and a person maintains his state. And also Roger's view of humanity and basic view, the human beings are social and future-oriented beings that have a will for their realization, and they have a good heart. So can you please understand the situation, how they are the same and also a little bit different? And for example, I developed my abilities in a way that I could improve. Now, the self-actualization is a life process, that there is only one thing that blinds people tendency to self-actualization, and it is seen as the environment in which the beings only or fully functions the person. And fully functioning person means the optimal psychological adoption and optimal psychological performance. When a human being is performing, psychologically adopting, and also psychologically performing well. And a person is well behaved, who is completely open to experience, and he is fully aware of his or her present self or life. Such as characteristics of these people are not static, but continuously changing, which, first of all, the openness to experience, existential life, trust in one's own organism, and a sense of freedom and creativity. You can find life in fully functioning person in Raja's book, which is mentioned in this book, This Is Me. This is the title of the book, which is This Is Me. A fully functioning person experience and a sense of unity, thereby achieves psychological maturity. And also, Lorenz imprint theory, and also the Bowlby's attachment theory. What is animal behavior? What is animal behavior? Animal etiology. The evolutionary basis of the animal behavior and how it responds, the influences, and also the survival and the development of species. It is the theory that the scientifically studies whether or particular emphasis is placed on the biological role or behavior adoption, survival value, and human being development. And also 1960s, Bowlby introduced etiological theory of human development, especially an attachment between the infants and their mother. Lorenz theory. So what is Lorenz theory? Imprinting phenomenon. It is a powerful action that is performed in the early life period and at a sensitive and decisive period that determines the certain action and becomes the indelible action. After that, imprinting, a form of learning which occurs only within a limited time in the early years of life, which is difficult to erase, and also the openness of experience, and started to apply to the relationship first, existential life, and also Lorenz theory. What is animal behavior? Animal etymology, as we said before, that how human beings evolved in responses, influences the survival and the development of species, as we said before, right? So this is the concept that we should be talking about, and also keeping in mind that how this animal behavior works, as we stated before, that you can find life fully and also life and fully functioning person in Raja's book, right? You can read about this, as we said before. And also understanding animals, by animals examining the unique behavior pattern through the natural observation. So the animal book, which is what is animal reaction, how we can understand, and understanding the theory, analyzing every animal, so how they are interacting with the world, and also determining not only the follow-up reason of offspring, which can be explained by instinct, and also by the subsequent social behavior. Critical time. What is critical time? It is a concept derived from engraving, derives of the notions that a particular period is important for particular development, and refers to biological readiness of a child to acquire a specific adaptive behavior in a limited time, which is called critical time. It emphasizes the importance of an environment, and also supports the appropriate stimuli for the adaptive behavior to be acquired. Recently, as a concept of human developmental approach, the term sensitive period was used as an important period and developmental process. This is, again, the Bowlby's attachment theory, so we can refer. And so through animal behavior theory, it is applied to the human relationships, right? And especially attachment theory, relationship between the infant and mothers. Human behavior is already determined innately in these behavior characteristics. And also attachment, when an infant is born, it refers to a strong emotional bond with the mother who takes care of it. And the infant, this is the infant show. So how a child is emotionally attached to his mother, and a stronger and more frequent attachment behavior to people who exhibit maternal behavior to perform abound early experiences and do not determine everything in the later development, but may limit the possibilities of later development, emphasizing these theories and SWOT and also strange situation experiment. Now analyzing this, in fact, the study of unfamiliar situation which is developed in a measure attachment and infant conduct, and also it is important. It's an important concept. Attachment as the one important factor, and that promotes the development of children in emotional and behavior problems in the modern society. First group, evasion group. She doesn't cry when her mother is gone, and she is happy. She is not happy when she returns. Rather, they show behavior to avoid their mother. Group B, Anjung Gang. When the mother is present, she engages in active exploration. When the mother is absent, crying, reducing, and search behavior when the mother returns. And she rejoices and begins active exploration again. This is a different kind of emotions with the first group. Group C is different. Two-sided value group. And to be anxious, and she often clinges to her mother, so she does not do much exploration. And also when separated from the mother, separated from their mother, they cry as if the world is going away. And when they meet again, they become angry and rebellious. While extremely learning on her mother, she shows refusal attitude. Group D, disordered or undirected group. Approaching and avoiding behavior and approaching the mother while turning away from the face can be seen at the same time. And you can see unnatural or rigid movement. There are times when I have the frightened experience on my face. So all four groups, they're different kind of groups. Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. Everyone is different. Thank you so much for attending the class. This was the end of our Barpadara de la Natsa.